What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unpopular Reviews, AEW Recap and Review. This is Divine Intervention with All Elite Joker as always. Here to discuss all the happenings on AEW Dynamite this week. Once again, a jam-packed show. A lot of different things to cover here. So we are going to go ahead and kick it off. First started with MJF's very humble speech. Definitely not self-absorbed in any way, or I don't know if I can even continue with this bit. This was a lot. Wardlow comes out with some cutouts. He looks pretty exasperated that
no music.
No, I was gonna get there.
Okay, sorry, just upset.
Who took notes?
Hey man, I took notes in my brain.
But yes, as All Elite Joker said, Wardlow, the only person in the Pinnacle with no musical entrance. FTR and Tully Blanchard got theirs. Shawn Spears came out next. Oh, and then of course MJF made his official debut. Poor Justin Roberts. That autobiography that he had to read off before MJF came out was something else.
For every single one of his cronies, much love for the queen, the champ, the divine one.
Two-time champ, looking to retain going into Elimination Chamber. I guess that's next weekend, so we'll see what happens there. Sorry to hear that your daughter is sick. Hope she is feeling better soon. Yeah, man. Okay, so MJF gets carried out in a palanquin. Something straight out of Star Wars, man.
So don't equate MJF to anything that I like, okay?
You wouldn't put him on the same level as a Jabba the Hutt? I know you love yourself some Jabba the Hutt.
I do, and I don't love me some Max, so no.
All right, fair enough. Well,
I do agree, great show.
Came out on a palanquin. Ladies, he tongued down. Well, it turns out to be his actual girlfriend. I'm glad that that's who that was, because that on-screen kiss was something else.
It was quite something. Thank you, Steve. And yeah, just full. And I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I knew it was going to be something grandiose, because of course it would be, because he, did what he did last week. And yeah, I God, as soon as I heard him coming out, I was just like, are you serious?
Oh yeah.
I wanted one of those guys to trip so bad.
Yeah, they practiced. They had to have practiced. There's no way. They look like they were straining,
still
though.
happen, right? They have to carry all of that ego. Okay, like there's a lot there. Yes. Thank you.
Wardlow slighted. MJF said there was only one man that, he was the reason why he was able to beat CM Punk. And of course, Wardlow starts to kind of take a step forward, because of course. And MJF says, no, it was Shawn Spears and his immaculate warm-up skills that shot him to victory. That's the winning secret sauce, everyone. Wardlow not involved. Plugs his new shirt, better than the best in the world, and you know it, which of course I'm sure he's going to lay that on extra thick for the next 6 to 8 months.
Hooray for us.
CM Punk comes out, of course, wants his rematch, rightfully so, given, the 2 wins that he secured. Brings out Darby and Sting. They've got the sticks, got some bats with them. Says that he got one of 2 ways. MJF can give him what he wants, which is the rematch, or he's going to beat it out of him. And CM Punk calls out Wardlow, telling Wardlow, hey, look, grow a pair. Obviously he doesn't respect you. Wardlow's the only reason the Inner Circle's won anything in the past 6 months.
Pinnacle.
Sorry, we'll get to the Inner Circle a little later, but yes, the Pinnacle. My apologies. And yeah, so FTR foaming at the mouth for a rematch. All in all, the segment ends up with CM Punk and a tag partner of his choice going against FTR a little later on in the show. All in all, what do you think of MJF's victory lap around Atlantic City?
It was very MJF. I wanted Punk and Darby and Sting to come down there and beat the tar out of him. Glad to see Sting back. He's been off for the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I was beginning to wonder if he was okay. But glad to see him. And
he's just old.
Yeah, I know. He's just old. And so is Tully. But we'll get to that as well later.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a good segment. I still can't stand Max. And I can't wait to see what the stipulation winds up being for this match.
Yeah, whispers on the internet, from what I understand, are calling for like a dog collar match. There have been several, references if you're attuned to that sort of thing, that I guess are hinting towards that maybe for Revolution. Obviously, the last one we saw, we still see clips of that in a lot of the Rampage like promos or commercials between Cody Rhodes and. Was that QT Marshall?
Yeah.
Because there have been a couple so far, I want to say.
I thought it was Cody and Brody.
Was it Brody? They flash it so quick. It's hard to tell. It's when Cody's coming off the
because didn't Brody like drag him in and like just wail on him?
We'll have to look it up. We'll
like it was.
Tune in next week to find out the answer, if I remember.
Check.
I agree with Joker. I thought Sting was dead. Yeah, Sting's just old. He needs some time to recover.
Hey man, I'm just saying that dive you did on the caster off of the ramp scared me a little bit. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, that spot was pretty dangerous for an old man. Unfortunately, we will not be able to make it next week. Next week's actually our anniversary. So Joker and I will still be on for our regular broadcast, but after that, it's anniversary time. So wishing you guys the very best. Hope you guys have a blast, and we'll have to catch you on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all in all, I mean, he's in Atlantic City. He's in Jersey. Of course, they gave a reaction to him being from the very best place on earth, which is Plainsville, Long Island. And, I mean, he got the response that everybody thought he would. This actually didn't feel as long as some of MJF's usual segments. I think it's because he didn't spend the entire time talking. Like, obviously, CM Punk came out. There were other people at play. So I think that this felt to me like appropriately timed.
I agree with that. And you still have those small little bits where you plugged the Wardlow, turn or imminent turn.
Right.
In there. And I wanted so bad. I just wanted to just beat Max down so bad. But oh well.
Does Wardlow cost MJF at Revolution?
I hope so.
Well, we'll get to that because at this point in the show, we don't even know if that match is happening yet.
Oh yeah,
getting ahead of ourselves.
Spoilers.
All right. Next we have a promo segment between Andrade and with Jose and Sting and Darby. It's very interesting to me how a lot of these segments are kind of bleeding into each other. The fact that Sting and Darby are obviously in the nucleus of the tag team, or not the tag team, the AEW championship via helping out CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And now that feeds into the Andrade story, which feeds into another story. So interesting storytelling here. Pretty simple. Andrade still wants to buy Darby, who he thinks is a young boy who works for
Mr. Sting.
Mr. Sting. Sting says if he's got something to say, needs to talk to Darby mano. And Darby says he's got bigger things to do, like become the next, or did you say become the next? Or basically, he wants to be TNT champion again for the second time, third time. Second, maybe, I don't know. Second. Anyway, Andrade says they have a lot more in common than Darby thinks, because Andrade is the next TNT champion. So obviously, Sammy Guevara needs to have his head on a swivel. A lot of challengers lining up these days for the TNT championship. What are your thoughts on the whole 2-belt thing?
Oh, Sammy and his 2 belts?
Yes.
You know, after seeing Sammy from like the beginning of AEW to now, for some odd reason, it just makes sense for that Sammy would want to do something like that. Like, if somebody on the roster was going to do that, I feel like it would be Sammy. Like, it just feels like Sammy. You know what I mean? Hello, greetings and salutations. I very much like your car. Yeah, I don't know. I know it irks certain people, and I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't really bother me all that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's distracting if anything else, because obviously it's like it takes up most of his torso, but I mean, it just looks like double belts to me. So sure, why not? More gold is more eye catching.
Right. I mean, do your thing, bro. If you want to, if that's gonna be your thing, then do your thing.
Feeding again into the Pinnacle storyline, we have Wardlow versus the Blade of the AHFO. So obviously a lot of intermixing going on here. Wardlow attacked before the bell from behind, got the leg picked pretty early. Sean Spears is at ringside. This match didn't go terribly long. No Sammy slander will be tolerated. We're a Sammy Guevara loving household. Absolutely, we are.
Very much so.
It's still distracting.
Just gotta call it like we sees it, though.
Gotta be honest.
Straight down the middle.
Obviously, Wardlow not given a whole lot of time to prepare for this match. Told he was to wrestle pretty much like 15 minutes before he had to come out in his gear. So,
yeah.
But looking good as always. Powerbomb Symphony ×4 this week. And of course, Sean Spears does his usual to interrupt Wardlow's victory with a chair shot after the bell. Obviously, Wardlow is on the path to becoming a babyface, and I can't wait for it to happen.
Yep.
Not a whole lot to say about this one. We've kind of been watching Wardlow's ascent to babyfacedom over the past couple of months. So
you can feel the change coming a bit more, and just watching it grow, because now the crowd has gotten to the point where they've started to count along with him. Because originally it was just the one more time. They just kept chanting one more time, and now we've evolved to the level of, okay, now we're going to start counting. And once it counts, it doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me, because even during the MJF's like speech segment, when MJF was like, "Oh yeah, Sean Spears is the reason I won," people were upset. There were Wardlow chants, and like people looked surprised. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody loves themselves a big old slice of Wardlow, and how could you not?
Man's a unit. He's a piece.
This is an interesting point here. I definitely want to call this out, and we'll bring this back up in just a little while, because we are going to go in order of the show. But I am 100% on board with Keith Lee sprinkling in. Speaking of changes here, we've got Penta El Cero Miedo with his promo. Kind of spooky voiceover from Alex Abrahantes, talking about how basically Penta's like unearthing some sort of, I don't know if it's a new mask, an old mask. I'm not really sure what this is supposed to represent, but obviously the mist is involved somehow.
What I took from it was, he's like, basically Penta's going to meet you where you are and bring out something that he hasn't used in a very long time, being an older, maybe an older version of himself.
Mm-hmm.
But people know why he was called Pentagon Jr. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but very excited to see what happens there. Obviously, that is kind of simmering in the background, along with the potential turn of Julia Hart, seeing more and more
So
little
excited for
Easter
that.
eggs across all their platforms. She just had a match on, I can't remember if it's Dark Elevation.
I think so.
But did kind of the Malachi sit in the middle of the ring during her match, which
And choked out her opponent with a triangle.
Yeah, it's coming. I don't know when. I don't know how.
She's still wearing the eye patch. I love it.
She's coming quite the little sass master over there.
I know, it's great. I'm so excited.
All right. So next we have the true inner circle segment, the team meeting. Jericho, Hager, and Sammy all come out together to Jericho's Judas. Everybody sings. It's a great time. P&P are nowhere to be seen all day except for when their attendance is mandatory. They come in out of uniform. So, all three of the other guys are wearing their inner circle vests. No shirt. That is the uniform. But P&P are obviously wearing shirts. So, they mean business. Chris is feeling disrespected. Obviously, circling back to the tag team match that they had a couple weeks ago. And feels that they robbed the fans who paid a ticket to see Chris Jericho wrestle. As soon as
everybody wanted.
As soon as those words came out of his mouth, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Like, it's hard to tell where the split is. Obviously I think they're trying to push P&P more in a positive light. So of course,
Most definitely.
Chris is going to say something like this. But yeah, so P&P feel that Chris is responsible for all the inner circles fights. They've pretty much been fighting his battle since day one. And basically says that Ortiz is the only reason that Santana hasn't dropped Chris Jericho at this point. I mean, he meant business. He told Chris basically to shut up. And he was not done speaking. And I was very impressed with how P&P held themselves on the microphone. I mean, Chris is known to be a talker. So, Chris says maybe he asked the wrong LAX members to join the inner circle. Kind of takes a jab at Sammy. Like, things are falling apart here pretty quickly for the inner circle. Everything kind of culminates in Ortiz saying that, where they come from, they don't settle the score with this. They settle it with some of this. So next week is going to be P&P versus Jericho and Hager to settle it once and for all. Oh, one last thing. Sammy Guevara has officially left the inner circle. He has again, yeah. He said, I've left this group before. I'm going to leave it again until you guys can figure it out. Obviously, he needs to kind of separate himself from all of this as the TNT champ because he's got bigger fish to fry. What do you think?
Look, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I wanted them to disband after they had their whole fight with the Pinnacle. I just wanted them to drive off into the sunset and be done with it, at least for a little while, till they needed to team up to fight some big bad group or whatever. But hey, if you want to go out this way, I'm just glad that it's coming to an end because I feel like it needs to. And I'm very excited because P&P are one of my favorite group, tag teams in the division. So I feel like, and we know that they can, every time they've had a match and have main evented, they've knocked it out of the park. I still remember that street fight, that parking lot brawl that they had with the Best Friends. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, I really want them to get the titles, and I feel like it's going to feel all the more powerful with them on their own, You know what I mean?
Right. Do we I'm projecting over the next couple of weeks, but I feel like we next week see PMP defeat, Jericho and Hager. I mean, it's got to progress the storyline this way. So I can't see anything but a win for them. Do we ultimately see Chris Jericho's heel turn when he attacks Eddie Kingston, blaming him for the dissolving of the inner circle?
I can't tell how quickly they were trying to do this, because you couldn't go the route of having, PNP beats Jericho and Hager. Doesn't matter which one takes the pin, but just have, Hager try and get Jericho. Let's say Jericho gets pinned. Have Jericho, have Hager try and get Jericho back up. And then Jericho, like he snapped at Sammy, just snaps at, Hager, and Hager's just like, hey man, look, I'm the last one that's standing by your side,
Right.
what the hell? And, just, or, shenanigans and he Judases him or something. You know what I mean? I don't know if we break up Chris completely and then reintroduce Eddie, or because like originally I was thinking, okay, Eddie will come back when it was the three of them, when it was when it was just PNP off to one side, and then you had, Jericho, Hager, and Sammy on the other. I was thinking, okay, maybe we'll have Kingston come back, trios match, and then it's gonna, be dissolved from there. But after Sammy just was like, you know what, look, I'm obviously dealing with things on my own quite well, so I'm gonna keep doing that over here. Y'all figure out your stuff, and I'm gonna go over this way.
Right.
So I can't tell if we're going quickly or if it's gonna be like, Jericho gets all the way to the bottom and then Kingston shows back up.
Well, the thing for me is Hager, we really haven't seen him outside of this, mandatory. Everybody's got to show up to this team meeting. Hager isn't somebody that we see all the time. And I don't know if when he comes back, if we separate him from Jericho, if he has a home to come back to, with PMP doing their own thing and Sammy doing his. There is nothing wrong. Like Hager has been able to play both sides. He's could just as easily be a very intimidating bad guy as he has been a lovable babyface. So for me personally, I think that he's just Jericho's muscle, comes in because Jericho's strong enough that he could stand on his own. But on the times when he needs a little extra muscle, he already has that built in with Hager, and you don't have to add anybody additional or try to make anything else make sense. Hager's free to go do whatever he wants, go back to UFC, do whatever he wants, but still has something to come back to whenever he is on our Dynamite television. But yeah, I'm not sure. I ultimately think that we will see him attack Eddie. He's been brought up too much, even without him physically being in the mix, for him to be out of this storyline completely.
Brought him up.
Was there a debut? There absolutely was, and we would love to talk about it. We are going to take
more than one.
Yeah, more than one. We are going to take a brief break. This has been UPR's AEW Recap and Review. We'll be right back after these messages.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
It's a trap. You're a genius.
Riddler and Two-Face can make a pretty lethal combination. Train me, let me be your partner.
Who's your tailor?
But first,
The real game begins.
Welcome back, everybody. Man, that's a movie I haven't seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Good movie, though.
Indeed.
Well, fun movie.
Going back through Dynamite tonight. Next up, we had a brief promo with Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice, which is Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. Basically, they are going to have their match on Rampage. If you remember a couple weeks ago, this match was supposed to take place. And I think due to potentially COVID or health-related issues, Rocky Romero was not able to make it. So we had a one-on-one singles match instead. Young Bucks attack. But the real walkaway from this segment is Jay White has made his AEW on-screen debut. Looking real good. Obviously, with us from New Japan, not sure to what extent, but he's helping out the Young Bucks, and most importantly, Adam Cole, baby. But we'll talk a bit more about him in just a little bit. We are going to get to the real meat and potatoes of the debuts this evening. Next up was Issah Cassidy versus the debut of Limitless Keith Lee. Just as it says here, just off of the high of his most recent wedding. So congratulations to him and Mrs. Lee, Mia Yim, for their Disney wedding. Obviously amazing to see him looking so good after the health scare for sure. But I did not know this about the fact that he was wearing the same gear. It looked similar to me from a color scheme perspective, but I didn't realize it was exactly the same. So I mean, what can you say? He came out and he's a star already.
Oh,
People
without a
lost
doubt.
their mind.
There was already signs in the audience. I was very excited. And I mean, most of us were guessing the Lee,
Of course.
because he's amazing.
Process
And
of elimination.
of course, but it didn't make it any less, exciting and special. And the crowd lost their minds, which was outstanding and made me very happy because he deserves it.
They tried to bamboozle us, posting those honeymoon pictures, but that water looked a little too dirty. I was like, that is Florida water right there. I know you are still in Florida.
Work.
Hey, man. Plus, I mean, you just had a Disney wedding. We know where you are. I thought yes, Samoa would be amazing. Samoa would be a wonderful, I don't know from an addition standpoint, but I mean, dream matches galore with plenty of people on the AEW roster. So are y'all drunk? Lee looked gassed. What? No way. Are you drunk?
Possibly.
Look, I mean, Lord knows. I know AEW has operates on a different speed in comparison to their competitor. The matches and stuff tend to be a little more fast paced. And some of the moves and stuff obviously are not banned in AEW versus WWE. I mean, I thought he took his time. I thought he really, dissected Issah Cassidy and he pulled off a lot of really impressive moves. How long until Lee ends up on AEW Dark? Like, for real. That, I don't know, because Adam Cole hasn't ended up on AEW Dark. I mean, there's several of the stars on the roster that have never, made it to that level. I think that if Keith Lee continues to present himself the way that he did tonight, several years, maybe.
Plus, I mean, if it also is up to the wrestlers, because I mean, Moxley's been on Dark, Hangman's been on Dark, Danielson's been on Dark. Like, Dark is where a lot of people get their reps in, but it's also where a lot of the the rankings happen, because it does count over on the Dark side, Dark and Dark Elevation. So, Thunder Rosa, Jade, I mean, there's a lot of people who get their reps in on Dark. So, I mean, Dark's not the,
purgatory.
Yeah, purgatory or anything. If anything, that means you're getting a push.
Well, we'll
at least
have
on
to
Lee's
see.
level.
If tonight is anything to go by, I think it will be a good long while before we see him anywhere other than on our weekly televisions. But dissecting the match here, his song slaps. I mean, I can't wait for it to be on Spotify because I definitely want to add it to my workout track. The AHFO look shook. I mean, you could see it across Matt Hardy's face. Issah Cassidy had a great expression, when his music hit. So, bask in his glory chants. I mean, people knew what they were there for. And let's see. Like I said, he pulled off some really impressive moves throughout this match. The other piece that I walked away with from here, Matt Hardy walks out on Private Party. He told them before the match that if they didn't win, there were going to be some changes, and it seems like Matt Hardy is second guessing his relationship with Private Party. They lost, or Isaiah lost, obviously. Private Party attacks after the bell. And Keith Lee just kind of throws him around like, whatever. No big deal. Your thoughts on Keith Lee and AEW?
I'm excited about Keith Lee and AEW. I'm very happy that Keith Lee's in AEW. I can't wait to see what Keith Lee does in AEW. Man got a hero's welcome like he deserves. That swagger's back. That should have never been taken from him in the first place.
Bearcats.
Oh, God. We do not speak that name. Black.
Oh, no. Do you think Mia Yim will also join AEW?
Not sure.
Unfortunately, of the two, if we're being real, I could see a Mia Yim relegated to dark over Keith Lee. Just personal opinion. Is it, that's just,
I think she flashed up on the screen for a hot second, too.
Yeah, it was hard to tell. But potentially.
But I think that was her.
Good. Mia Yim is needed in the women's division. I agree. I 100% agree. Could only benefit from having more seasoned women on the women's roster.
Definitely. And I mean, they're trying to shield it as best as they can. But, yeah.
But yeah, I think Keith Lee's going to be amazing. I think he is going to do great things. I don't obviously, with his victory, he has earned himself a place in the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and going after the TNT Championship. This one first. Keith Lee adds to an overstacked roster. Let's get some releases going. Some people need to lose their jobs. Jesus Christ.
Jesus, man.
Look. No, you first. You first, Joker. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, there already have been a couple of people who have silently exited the building as their contracts have run up, because we are coming up on the time period where a lot of people who signed originally, with the first run of, the wrestlers that came in the early days, a lot of their contracts are coming up. So for some of your larger names like the Bucks and them, but a lot of people aren't re-signing. We've seen a lot of people where they've opened up their books and their calendars completely, for indie dates and everything. So, I mean, there are people who are, silently leaving, but, it's not doing anything other than their contract being up, and they're just not, in a position to re-sign.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I think that over the past 3 years, we have seen who the audience has taken to and who has struggled a little. Unfortunately, as talented as he is, you've got your like Brian Cages of the world, who are exceedingly talented and just, haven't been able to connect. And I think that we will end up seeing a lot more releases over the next 3 to 6 months for sure. So why not, while you can, sink your teeth into somebody like a Keith Lee before somebody else snatches him up, knowing that, okay, in the next couple of months, we will be probably departing with some people on that level. So
yeah, there will be some trimming.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that it has been nice that Tony Khan is openly said he is not the type of person who cuts contracts like out of you know, um, um I'm sorry, could the EC get released? Uh, and EC was not too happy about that. Damn, didn't have to call
Y'all
him out.
ruthless.
I know, right? Jesus, trying to have a civilized engagement over here. But anyway, I think that I'm sorry. Tony Khan has said multiple times that he's not the type of person to want to cut somebody's contract just because things aren't working. So I've appreciated that, you know, even if they aren't being utilized, at the end of the day, they're still getting a payday until they mutually are like, okay, we've reached the end of the road here. So, big things I'm sure from Keith Lee. Keeping an eye out on that. Short promo next from Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa, obviously referencing the match from Dynamite last week. They will be having a no disqualification match on Dynamite next week. And Mercedes says that she is the best when there are no rules. Thunder Rosa obviously involved in a lot of extreme matches, obviously super talented. Is this the path to Britt Baker at Revolution?
Possibly. I mean, the fact that Britt has her fingerprints all over this now, you know, kind of makes it where it kind of has to be. I think they might have been trying to see how long they could possibly drag it out. You know, as far as if they could, not even if they could drag it out, if they could take it to Double or Nothing, but the reign has run its course.
I agree.
And
I think that it is time for a new champ.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while now that I feel like it should be a Revolution, and so
Not
I'm very
taking
excited.
anything away from the DMD.
No, of course not. The woman stayed over whilst in a wheelchair for months on the back of a golf cart
with garbage. Yeah, that whole
and
situation.
her little clothesline to Tony Schiavone. Like, Britt is magnificent.
Elvis out here speaking facts. I'm sorry. What can I say?
Well, just saying.
Brief. Well, I mean, I kind of touch on this. It's meant to play during the commercials, but Sammy always has something to say on his cue cards. Kind of circling back to the whole Inner Circle breakup. Obviously, he is sad to see his brothers suffering, but obviously needs to focus on being the TNT champion and the face of the Revolution ladder match that's coming up. And the challengers are lining up. So far on this one episode, we've got 3 people: Andrade, Darby, and now Keith Lee, with him winning that match. Any speculation on who other entrants might be? I'd imagine it's maybe a 5 or 6 man match. So any other guesses?
Darby. I don't know.
Personally, I am thinking Scorpio Sky.
I was going to say Scorp.
He's obviously kind of been floating around the TNT title nucleus for a little while.
Do you throw Ethan in there too?
No, I don't think so. If we think about it, Scorpio won the Sonic ring last time. You know, nothing really came from it. Like, I think he had one match, and I know that he didn't really. He performed well. Scorpio Sky is a inaugural tag team champion.
Yep.
You know, but nothing else really came of it other than, you know, obviously the meme that became the Sonic ring.
Didn't he get injured after that, though? I thought he had injured his leg after that.
Maybe.
Like, not too long. Like, it was like a match or two after that. I think he had injured his leg.
Well, that's my pick. I think next we'll see one of the men of the year. My pick is Scorpio Sky to enter the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and potentially Cody. I mean, he's kind of been in and around that, and people love to boo him, so why not? Those are my two picks. That would bring the count to 6.
Oh, Mr. Rhodes.
They need to figure out something. I'm glad that they didn't continue with whatever that whole Paige Van Zandt, Brandy, American Top. Like, as much as Paige being in the mix is not a bad thing, because I think she herself is pretty talented. I didn't need to see any more of that. That was not good. And I'm glad that they listened and did not pursue that any further.
They're pretty good about making sure that they don't do stuff that is just overtly terrible, which is what that was. And I appreciate that. So yeah. I agree. I'm very happy that they did not revisit that, because we did not need to.
No. All right. Still a lot more to cover, but stick with us here through the commercial break. This is Divine Intervention and All Elite Joker. We'll be right back after these messages.
Talk about that. We got the return of Oldberg. All right. And here's the thing about this. My kids, I keep saying this, my kids like Goldberg. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And here's my thing why I don't get it or understand it, because they didn't know Goldberg in his prime, right? They're going off of the storyline that WWE presents to them and what they see, and they should. And they ride for Goldberg. Now, they know he's going to lose, and here's why I brought this up and why I want to talk about this part just a little bit.
You got to understand, you got to know when you want somebody to take the bullet and when you don't want them to take the bullet. Now, if it was somebody else on SmackDown that got it, who else is they consider top tier in SmackDown? Let's go with somebody. If you want, say McIntyre said he wanted to go ahead and I want you in the chamber. This is some dumb shit, however he talked.
With my auntie. With Rosie.
With the fucking whale, with the whale sword.
Mike Knox, everybody. Mike Knox. Oh man, catch him here on Unpopular Review. Like, share, subscribe, everybody.
I'm sorry, man. Will Sword took me out.
Maybe you'll catch us there one day. Catch him on Wednesdays. Oh
man.
Catch him on Wednesday in a few weeks with us. Oh my goodness. Special guest. Wait for it, everybody. I'm actually very excited. Mike Knox has a very well-rounded view of wrestling, in my opinion. I'm very interested to see what he has to say.
Victor's in the house.
Woo, woo, woo. You are acknowledged.
From the champ. It's better than exec. Every time. It's terrible decisions.
Oh, catch me, Divine Intervention, on Friday, SmackDown review in about 2 weeks on the 25th. Everybody's all going all over the place. Catch everybody everywhere. Stay tuned. Seriously though, I will either be a 3-time champ or I will be very bitter. So tune in to find out which one it is.
Don't worry, babe. I'll get it if you don't.
We'll keep it in, as long as we keep it in the family. All right. Next up, we've got FTR versus CM Punk. Boo. CM Punk and his tag team partner, Jon Moxley, of all people. Very interested to see him in the mix with CM Punk. Obviously, just coming off of the wicked promo from Bryan Danielson last week. Let's see. MJF and Shawn Spears are watching the match from backstage. Mox comes out and flips off FTR, but gives Tully a bow. So he's a gentleman. He's a man of respect. Good to see Ambrose looking in good shape. Absolutely. Ever since he's come back, he's looked like he's been in top shape. And I think tonight we said that he was actually kind of filling out again, looking a little bit fuller in the cheeks. So always
still
good to
not
see
in
him.
The jeans though.
Look, man, we're starting a GoFundMe for Mox and his jeans.
For a new belt.
It's something. Like, he could have taken his Shield attire, like, at least.
Bruh. They loose. They real loose.
Hey, man, get the man a belt.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of back and forth in this match. I mean, everybody involved super talented. CM Punk going hold for hold with Dax. FTR kind of picking on the left leg that CM Punk was favoring from last week's match. Outside, they had a big brawl, suplex off the barricade, Mox through the timekeeper's table. Punk at one point not in the corner for the tag. Mox is he knows how to build a hot tag. Like, when he went to that neutral corner, I was like, oh no, he went to the wrong place. Somebody get it. And he just popped out of there, got the hot tag, and it was extra spicy.
Jon Moxley was the number one wrestler for a reason. Okay.
It's true.
Like, the man's timing is impeccable. The man's ring awareness is impeccable. The man's pacing, like the way he builds a match, the way he tells a story through a match. Last week, I think it was last week. Whenever he was fighting OC and Danhausen popped up and he just, and then it was Yuta.
Oh, Yuta,
yeah. When he saw OC and he was kind of looking at OC, and then Danhausen popped up, and it was just enough time to where he was looking like he was about to get his hands on him, and then Yuta comes flying in, so it was in motion. The finish to that match, because they teased the dual finisher at the end, or somewhere in the middle where, Punk, I think, had Dax up, and then Mox had Cash, and then they reversed it for the finish. His timing was so beautiful because he came in, floated under, wrapped the arm up, and was on his way down as Cash was coming down onto Punk's knee. So they both made impact at the exact same moment, and it was magnificent.
Yeah.
Punk with the early going, when him and Dax, were doing the great mat maneuvers. Punk is really gotten back into form, and I'm really excited to just keep seeing him. I kind of want to see him and Danielson do the dojo, to be completely honest. As much as I would love to see, yes, that Doomsday Device, and I'm kind of wondering about Punk's leg, because he was kind of favoring it a little bit more than it felt like a sell, but hopefully it was just a sell and he's just that good. But yeah, beautiful Doomsday Device by the two vets, I guess. They're all vets, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
But
we saw the Anaconda Vice tonight.
I was about to say, got to see the Anaconda Vice, which called for that immediate tap out, which was magnificent.
And honestly, I think, like I said, every time he's had a match, he's pulled out a new move, and it hasn't been, oh, well, I'm going to set this person up over in the corner so I can do this move. It truly has been him feeling like he's pulling these out of his bag of tricks, to try to seal the deal. So very natural, very fluid. GTS to Tully. Tully took a GTS like a freaking champion. A lot of old man moves tonight. Definitely seeing the young and old roster.
They wanted that DDT so bad.
Yes, we will get to that. A lot of old man moves. But yeah, obviously MJF is pissed. FTR not able to seal the deal. Amazing match, but CM Punk was able to get the victory. So I'm sure next week we will find out what that means. Potential, like we were saying earlier, dog collar match or stepped up match, I'm sure, for Revolution.
Very exciting.
Very, very exciting stuff. Like I said, super great match. Next we had A.Q.A. making her AEW debut versus Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship. A.Q.A. trained by Booker T, looking amazing. I mean, everything we saw from her looked good. I thought the two of them had really great chemistry. I love that Jade is really leaning into this whole people calling her green, so she's green like money. She
is money.
She is money. Everything that Jade has been doing has been impressing me. This match, in my opinion, was one of her best. She pulled that double buy. She started, trying to incorporate like push-ups and stuff mid-match, kind of reminiscent of Bryan Danielson and his jumping jacks. Elvis, I don't know. No. Sorry. You have that the wrong way.
Leave.
You got to put it the other way, my friend. Got to put it the other way. But anyway, yeah, she's green like money, and I think she's gonna be. I'm sorry. It made me laugh.
Also, real quick, Victor, that would be too powerful. Okay, that's too much power.
I think it's going to be one or the other. Some people have called that it's not going to be Mox. It might be CM Punk and Danielson kind of going through this tear and soaking up all these young, talented roster members like your Wheeler Yutas and your Daniel Garcias of the world. A.Q.A, former 2-time Diamond Women's Champion. She looked great. I mean, she really made Jade shine. Jade on her own is very strong and can pull off a lot of really impressive looking moves. But I think her being in the ring with a veteran who knows how to kind of call the shots is only making her look that much better. Also, what was that throw?
What, when she
just pistol whipped her across the ring?
Bro, I don't know. A yeet slam like that's I don't know. Like, I thought she was gonna deep six her at first, but then she turned it into like almost like a crossbody slam. Like, it was ridiculous. It looked disgusting. Whatever it was, I hope she does it again. Also, her going from being in a arm bar into just standing up with this woman attached to her arm, only to double by with her still attached to her arm. Jade Cargill.
Yeah, like Elvis, I don't know how after seeing that could even be. You got to flip it the other way, my friend. Got to flip it the other way.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have a promo circling back to Young Bucks and Adam Cole. The Young Bucks kind of wary. Adam could have sent a text message about the whole Jay White thing. Adam Cole insisting. The Young Bucks saying that, of course, at one point, Jay White and Kenny were sworn enemies.
Blood feud.
The blood feud. And Adam, of course, insisting, hey, look, you can trust me, and that means you can trust Jay White. He's going to have your back on Friday during their match with Roppongi Vice. And also talking about if you're Bullet Club, you basically Bullet Club for life. So, obviously we can all see the painting, the writing on the wall. This is only going to lead to faction versus faction situation. Red Dragon, Adam Cole, Jay White versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and maybe Cody Rhodes get the full elite back together, or maybe Hangman. Is that when we see Hangman kind of go back into the fold? Because I feel like that's ultimately, like, this is, of course, like, maybe even next year before we see this come to fruition, but
I don't know. Possibly. That would, I don't know. There's so many options to go here. Like, the fact that they just kind of like they just threw Jay in there, and I was just like, all right, Switchblade's here. Cool.
No warning, just surprise.
Nope. Right. And then nothing else after that. I was just like, okay, why? I need more.
He's got a
Need
cool
more.
jacket.
Yeah. I mean, he's Jay White. Jay White's cool. Man, beats people up.
I'm very excited.
He's cool while doing it.
I'm sure on Friday we'll get a sneak peek of what he's bringing with him to the AEW.
Because young Jay White, I wasn't like super, like, I saw the potential there, but then, man, Jay White.
Yeah,
very
for
excited.
sure.
Very excited. Need more New Japan.
Yeah, wherever we can get it. Seems like the stars are cycling in,
COVID.
Yeah, less and less, unfortunately. I've got Shida and Riho both back in Japan. Riho, of course, nursing that injury. So I think it will be some time before we truly see any more Japanese wrestlers. But hopefully they will grace our screens before the end of 2022.
Amy Sakura tends to be around pretty often.
Yeah, I think she has a school here.
Yeah.
But they are filming Rampage tonight. Rampage is usually taped right after Dynamite. So most people have been kind, especially online, to not do a whole bunch of spoilers and stuff like that when it comes to a lot of the Rampage stuff, since there is a section of the audience that has seen it before it comes out on Fridays. But for the most part, people kind of keep spoilers to themselves, and it is much appreciated. Who do you think is better, Jay White or Adam Cole, baby?
Better at what?
Yeah, that's kind of hard.
That's an important question.
Better at being an asshole? Maybe Adam Cole, baby. I don't know.
What kind of asshole? Because they're both assholes.
Adam just has a punchable face.
That is very true.
Yes, we know his name in New Japan is Switchblade. Unfortunately, we have to call him by his AEW name. Since he debuted as Jay White, we will have to continue to call him Jay White. But we do know in our heart of hearts that it is Switchblade. In-ring skill, says Elvis. Joker, I'll let you simmer on that for just a second. We'll talk very briefly about Serena Deeb and Katie Arquette. This is going to take
just like the match.
Yeah. Serena Deeb doing a 5-minute rookie challenge, essentially, saying that she basically beat Sky Blue. What was it, like 3 minutes, basically, last week? Beat Katie Arquette in less than 1. Like, there was still time on the clock when she beat her.
She intentionally waited until after it had been a minute.
Yeah, because
then did it.
Yeah. So Serena knows nobody is on her level in the women's roster, and honestly, I think she's 100% right. As far as pure skill, I don't know if there's anybody that could match her. Do we see a couple more weeks of this before a female star debuts? I kind of nudged you earlier and thought maybe Athena might be debuting, but I think that it might be wise to kind of put a little more distance between, obviously there were 2 big debuts tonight, so kind of save some stuff leading into Revolution. We still have 1, 2, 3 weeks of TV before then.
Exactly, and I'm almost thinking, have Deeb do this up until that point, and then you can have Athena, depending on what they have on the card by then, as far as the women's matches and stuff are concerned. Because just for sake of argument, we're going to say that Rosa and Britt are going to be fighting for the championship, but they try and do at least 2. So if Jade's not doing anything, and Deeb's been doing this little 5-minute thing, you could just as easily at the end of her, 5-minute challenge that week, have Athena come out and be like, all right, since you talking so much smack about it, and nobody in that locker room, guess who's in the locker room now?
Right.
Square up. And having those 2, you could instantly have those 2 at a pay-per-view.
Oh, for sure.
And it'd be, just a straight banger. So I kind of hope that's the kind of the way that goes with it, but we'll see.
Yes. Victor with the correction. A.Q.A did make her debut this evening. So there was a women's debut. Not sure if A.Q.A will be on our roster long term, but always wonderful to see young POC talent on our TV screens. Mia Yim didn't officially debut tonight, so I won't count that one. Sorry. Last but not least, we have our main event: Hangman Page versus Lance Archer. Lance Archer in a Texas death match. Winner only by countout or submission. I'm not gonna play into that. We'll leave that alone for now. Okay, circling back before we break down the main event here. Circling back to Elvis's question about Jay White and Adam Cole, I kind of agree with Victor. Jay White, or Switchblade as he is better known in New Japan, just in-ring talent, I think would beat Adam Cole, but can't beat Adam Cole in charisma. I'm sorry.
No, not in charisma, but yeah, as far as like, I prefer Jay, like his in-ring talents. I prefer Jay personally. Who's better is subjective.
All right. Fight starts backstage. I mean, Hangman wasting no time, sending Lance Archer into storage boxes and a whole scissor lift.
Yep. That Lance move.
Sending him through the the glass on the ramp. Yes, we will definitely be breaking this down here. There were points where I couldn't even watch. There have been some main events like that, like the Chris Jericho Nick Gage match was also another one that I couldn't watch it with the pizza cutters and just all sorts of stuff. I couldn't do it, but
I live for this stuff.
I managed to muscle through it, everybody. But yeah, Hangman with a buckshot right away. Lance Archer with a almost count out, like almost immediately. Trash can lid to the face. Everybody is starting to bleed. Dan Lambert takes apart the top rope. Obviously trying to neutralize Hangman's buckshot lariat. Got a standing moonsault in the crowd. Like every other comment from this point on is so much blood. Just so much blood. Hangman is gushing. You know, Lance Archer is also trickling down his, like it was rough to watch. And then we have Jake the Snake putting the moves on Hangman outside of the ring. Trying to go for that DDT outside, and Archer is upset.
Knowing good and well he can't get back up if he does.
He was gonna do. Look, he's willing to risk it all.
Hey, you know what?
Willing to put it all on the line.
Back and all.
Hip,
disc.
Especially since Archer had removed the floor like mats at this point. It was all just the concrete. Fork attacks were next. Archer either in his pocket or from under the ring had a fork. Stabby, stab, stab. Could not watch this. Definitely just I couldn't do it.
And then he licked the fork.
Ew, gross. See, it's anyway.
I'm reporting.
Ooh, so gross.
Nah, it was never mind.
Anyway, pulls out a bunch of chairs. Last one is a barbed wire chair. Then he flips the stairs over and gives Hangman the blackout on the side of the stairs, which looked disgusting. Hangman steals the barbed wire from the chair, wraps around his forearm, basically giving him a bunch of forearms, then does a buckshot off the referee's back. Through a table. Through a table that was set up on the outside. And yeah, Adam Cole kind of comes down afterwards and makes his intentions known. I was expecting Adam to beat the shit out of him, honestly. I thought he was coming down to Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was coming down to beat the brakes off of him, but all he did was kind of put the title on his shoulder.
Yeah, like I was kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of confused because I was like, all right, here we go. Cole's gonna do his, thing, and Adam Cole it up, maybe give him a baby in his face with the title, something. But just the slump over his shoulder. Good job, bud, and then just walk away. And I was just like, okay, where are we going here? Like, I'm a little confused, just ever so slightly.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where we go from here, but honestly, I think
Where the hell's Red Dragon?
Look, everybody's got to have a day off every once in a while.
I guess so.
Plus, the Young Bucks were there this time. Red Dragon's been there while the Young Bucks have been off, so it's their turn to babysit Adam Cole.
I guess so.
Look, Adam Cole's got a lot of friends. Obviously, Hangman retaining as our AEW champion going into Revolution. I can't imagine that he would have another actual title match between now and then. Any guesses on, I guess Adam Cole is his opponent for Revolution. So, I guess we'll see a couple weeks maybe of Dark Order versus some of Adam Cole's friends.
Maybe, but I find it interesting that we didn't even see a trace of the Dark Order, even when Hangman was getting, triple team, because we had Lambert, Archer, and Roberts all out on the outside during this match, and not a single Dark Order member did anything. Ever since he's become champion, we've barely seen them, and it's like, okay, they had to run the gauntlet. Danielson had to run the gauntlet of them before even getting to Hangman. We could at least throw Silver down there, something.
Well, I guess, and for me personally, I think maybe it has to do with presenting Hangman as a strong champion, and not needing to rely on friends to retain his title, because that tends to be more of a heel trope. Like we saw it pretty heavily with Chris when he was champion. Everybody had to go through the inner circle. Same thing with Kenny when he was champion, up until recently. So I feel like he is still closely associated with the Dark Order. Like the fact that Adam faced Evil Uno on his road to challenging or making his intentions known to Adam. How do you have them in the mix without taking away from Hangman's strength, especially since he's not a Dark Order member.
And I get that, but at the same time, it also falls into the babyface ain't got no friends trope. I'm just saying, like I said, it didn't have to be the whole Dark Order, just like one of them, just at least just to run Lambert and Roberts off, you know what I mean? Just that's my only little tidbit. But
yeah, no, I mean, look, that's a fair argument.
I don't know where we go with, because I'm trying to figure out what we're doing, because Jay White, I wasn't expecting Jay White. Jay White just threw a whole monkey wrench into any fantasy booking that I had as far as like how we would make our way to Revolution, because I don't know if he's going to factor into stuff now. And yeah, so yeah, I'm just kind of all over the place when it comes to where we go from here. Same way with CM Punk. Nobody came to help him when he got beat down. Again, babyface ain't got no friends, and that's why I said it didn't have to be even Silver and Reynolds, or throw Reynolds at one of them, just one. Just one. There's like 1,000 Dark Order members at a given time in the building. One of them could have came and helped.
That's fair.
Is all I'm saying.
That is fair. Well, we'll have to see how they, factor into the equation going into Revolution. Obviously, 3 more weeks of both Dynamite and Rampage before the big show. So, we'll see what other matchups come of, these two factions kind of being in the same circle together. Overall, this was an amazing show. AEW has a tendency to kind of rebound when it comes to, having not a bad week, but not as strong of a week, and then bouncing back and having a really great week. So between the debuts tonight, all the story developments, shout out to, Jay White, shout out to A.Q.A. Not only those, but the match qualities themselves, the storyline progression. I mean, I'd give this show 8.5, 9.
Yeah, I was sitting at a solid 8.5 myself. So
yeah,
firm 8.5.
Yeah, I think it was a good one. So looking forward to next week. Looking forward to Rampage. I mean, just for an hour's worth of show of television, it's always pretty stacked with matches. So can't wait to see what is going to come of. There was one thing on Rampage that I was really looking forward to. Oh well, circle back next week. We'll touch on it, I'm sure, because we always kind of dabble on the previous weeks. I know that the Jurassic Express are going to be
yeah, they're fighting the Gun Club, but there's something else.
Yeah, there was something else, and I know I'm going to kick myself as soon as we sign off and be like, oh yeah, that's what it was. But either way, we'll touch on it next week, I'm sure. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. As always, I'm Divine Intervention, your 2-time UPR champion. This is
Soon to be 3-time.
I don't even know why I try to point. All Elite Joker, as always.
Baby.
This is the Unpopular Review, AEW Dynamite recap and review. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.